guys, welcome back to another pick AOE League's Division 10 final. Today we've got Division F between the fantastic Raiden and Pascal Sauvage, which they're both really well-rounded players, I would say. And even though this kind of bracket, I think, kind of ranges from, say, 1350 to maybe 1450, maybe 1500 in terms of ELO. It is worth reflecting on the fact that that kind of bracket range is really in the top 10% of active players in the game. So it's really cool to be able to cast that. And we are looking at some pretty well-developed players. So it's a real privilege to be casting this today. It is a best of 5. And we've got maps and civilizations from the entire, or maps from the entire bracket, and civilizations from whichever civs are being picked. All the civs are available, so we're going to have a lot of variety here, and I'm really looking forward to quite an epic set. Now, just bear with me a moment as I just going to check that everything is running smoothly. It's I'm actually trying out some new broadcasting software right now, and I just want to make sure that I'm not casting to no one or not casting at all before I get really into the nitty-gritty of the set. But it's crazy weather here today. It is 28 degrees, and yet I am, for some reason, casting Age of Empires instead of enjoying the wonderful weather. So, I mean, I guess that makes me a massive nerd, doesn't it, to be honest? Anyway, okay, getting into the map draft then. We've got, you can see the maps here. For Raiden, we've got Saltmarsh, Atacama, and Arabia. I know Raiden, I actually played Raiden in the semi-finals for this bracket. So Raiden is coming into this fresh off a victory over me. I think it was 2-1 in the end. So it's a good set. And Raiden really showed to me, at least, that he's a pretty damn good player, much better than myself anyway. And Raiden, perhaps might be emboldened knowing that he has bested the OG Man-Beast. My goodness, now. I mean, I felt like Raiden was a much better player in that set. And I will note that Raiden's home map for most of this bracket has been Arabia. So he is a bit of an Arabia, what's the term? An Arabia bot, so to speak, someone who picks Arabia quite a bit. So he's very familiar with the map. Interestingly, he has also picked Saltmarsh, which I know is also Pascal Sauvage's home map, or has been his home map for this bracket. So it's quite an interesting pick there by Raiden. I think he does have a pretty solid record on that map as well. So perhaps he's kind of hoping to play to his strengths, and he knows that he's got a solid record on the map, so he might be quite happy going into this. He's also got Atacama, which is a very kind of aggressive map, very open map. So I feel like this plays to Raiden's kind of strengths. When I played against Raiden, I got the impression that he's a player who favors his cavalry civs, and is a player who's perhaps not the most confident on hybrid or water maps. I think that's kind of reflected in evacuation being banned. And it's also kind of interesting here that the admin pick is 4 Lakes, which I don't think Raiden has a great track record on. And I think that, again, reflects Raiden is really at home where he's able to be aggressive. He's a pretty solid arena player as well, but he likes those kind of land-based maps. That's his kind of comfort zone, and he's clearly pretty solid on Saltmarsh, but I have noticed in previous matches as well, he seems to prefer playing those kind of land-based maps and prefers to avoid the water-based maps and the hybrid maps. So kind of interesting there. Then we've got Pascal Sauvage. Let's just take a second there to appreciate Pascal Sauvage's name. I'm a big fan of the first Johnny English film, so top tier pick for a name there. Also worth mentioning that this isn't my first encounter with Pascal Sauvage. This isn't the first game that I've casted of his, actually, because I used to cast quite a bit around 10 years ago back in the HD days, and Pascal, under a different alias, used to send me a couple of games. So I've cast quite a few of his his games now, or back in the day. So it's a real pleasure to kind of get back into casting a kind of the games of an old friend, so to speak. Anyway, Pascal Sauvage, he's got Arena, Cup, and Islands. As I said earlier, Saltmarsh was his home map for most of this bracket, so he can't be too disappointed that Raiden's gone for it. He also he's from what I've seen on of the bracket, I think he's quite a competent Islands player, so it makes sense that Raiden has sniped that map. He banned Morass, which was actually my home map for this bracket, which I can kind of understand. I think when it comes to a best of 5, Claire trying to make the draft so it's just maps that you are generally familiar with is generally the best strategy, right? You just want to make sure that you've got some sort of your build orders, your strategies for these specific maps, and I think that is reflected in both of these players' picks and also their bans. Evacuation is also quite a niche map. I don't think many people will have played it. I think I'm right in saying that it is Dom Husk's home map from this bracket, which is why it's kind of an option at all. And it's interesting to note that both Raiden and Pascal Sauvage have kind of banned what I would see as quite niche maps. And then we've got the admin pick of Four Lakes. Going into this, I kind of favor Pascal Sauvage, just in terms of playstyle. I also know Raiden has struggled with Four Lakes in the past, so that is maybe giving Pascal Sauvage a slight edge in this draft. But anyway, let's go and see what the map pool is like. And if you are watching, do let me know in the chat if everything's okay with the stream. It seemed to be okay on my end, at least. Anyway, continuing on to the Civ draft. Okay, so this is really kind of interesting. I think you can already see straight off the bat that Raiden has a kind of slight preference for cavalry civs. Obviously, Tartars, Saracens, to a certain extent, Portuguese, to a certain extent, Turks, and certainly Georgians are all kind of cavalry civs. Even Bengalis. I mean, Bengalis don't have a great stable, but they do get the Ratha, which is a really underrated unit. It's very powerful, straight from the castle. And this is quite a nice, diverse draft. I really like a lot of these civs for. I think they kind of fulfill multiple roles. I think Georgians could easily be played on Arabia or Atacama. I think that Portuguese could easily be played on Saltmarsh or Evacuation or even Arena. And I also think that Bengalis, Bohemians are really good for the kind of more closed maps anyway. And then Saracens, Tartars, and Saracens and Tartars are quite flexible. I feel like Saracens in particular, I like Saracens for maps where there is a hybrid element, but you can kind of drop the market early and maybe focus a little bit more on the water aggression or on land aggression, and kind of adapt as you go using the market. So as we all know, the market is cheaper for the Saracens and they get the best prices. So you can sell your starting stone and kind of really make the most of that aggression. and that kind of it works out well on most maps, but it can be quite interesting to use it on hybrid maps, particularly if your opponent is opting to go for water, kind of very heavy water focus, and you kind of misdirect and go for a very heavy land focus. It can really kind of catch your opponent off guard, and also the Saracens get the extra attack on their archers. So there's a lot of bonuses there that make Saracens very deadly on the kind of hybrid maps and very flexible. So I think Raiden's draft is really well rounded. I think he's got an excellent variety of civs there. Quite interesting to note the bans here. I'm not entirely sure um, what whether this is particularly Raiden picking civs that he thinks Pascal Sauvage would go for. Personally, I hate playing against Italians. Incas are really tricky to play against. Teutons as well could be maybe something on Arena or whatnot. And then Cumans and Celts are always tricky to play against more generally. So I could kind of see the logic behind this. And then Pascal Sauvage has gone Byzantines, Malians, Koreans, Lithuanians, Slavs, Japanese, Chinese. So immediately, what stands out to me is the first map which is going to be played is the admin pick, Four Lakes, and one of the best, if not the best, civs, or some of the best civs for this map are Lithuanians, Japanese, and Malians. They're all really good picks. I think, and Byzantines actually. I think Raiden might have his work cut out for him on the first map. We'll just see how it goes. Then, just bearing in mind the rest of the draft, so we've got Arena. None of these civs are necessarily top tier Arena civs, but Koreans I think will work really well if Sauvage goes for the kind of classic castle drop into unique unit. Slavs could work as well, to be honest, with the cheaper siege and whatnot. They've got a really good boom as well. That being said, I feel if I was in Raiden's shoes, I would expect my opponent to go Koreans if Arena comes up, if that makes sense. Then for the kind of other maps like Cup, Saltmarsh, and Atacama, for Cup and Saltmarsh, I think you could easily go Malians or Japanese. And I think going back to Koreans, Koreans actually had a lot of showings in Hidden Cup, the tournament Hidden Cup for the map Cup, which is kind of a confusing map to have in a tournament called Hidden Cup, but there we are. But Koreans were able to use their kind of tower bonuses in Cup quite well, so that's kind of interesting to see. Pascal has gone for that pick, and then for Saltmarsh, what are we kind of thinking here? Once again, I guess like Malians kind of make sense. Byzantines would have made sense as well. Chinese for Atacama, maybe. I mean, they're very solid serve, and I mean Slavs as well. Slavs are so good right now, probably like A tier, if not S tier, just with that extra powerful economy at the moment. So I feel like this is quite a well-rounded draft. And I think Pascal has good answers for every map that has been drafted. And then if we're just looking at these bonuses, as I said, I think Raiden is quite a cavalry-focused player, and this is kind of reflected in this draft. Persians, Hindustanis, Mongols, Magyars, Berbers, they're all powerful cavalry civs, right? So Pascal Sauvage has clearly done his research. Anyway, we will just swap over to the game itself. Give me a second, as the overlay is about to get very confusing. Ooh, my goodness. There we are. Okay. Sorted that out. Love to see it. Okay, and let me just double check that everything is working okay before we get into the first game proper. Okay. let's get into it. Let's get down to business. So our first game is on 4 lakes with Pascal Sauvage playing in the green and Raiden playing in the Portuguese. In the blue as the Portuguese. Oh my goodness, I'm a mess. Forgetting how to speak, man. Anyway, these are both really solid picks for this map. I think I could see this going either way, actually, based on Civ pick alone. I think initially the Japanese have quite a big advantage. You would probably suspect the Japanese to go for that kind of very powerful man-at-arms into towers kind of play that has become so popular with them. However, as the game gets later, perhaps the Portuguese might be able to make something happen. They definitely have the better late game options. That being said, as I said earlier, I feel that Raiden is a little bit less comfortable on this map. So, you know, civs aside, I do slightly favour Pascal Sauvage going in here. I feel like there's a lot of potential here with mind games because the Japanese man-at-arms rush is so common that it's very easy to see your opponent is playing Japanese, and then immediately you kind of go straight for the range, opening in Feudal Age. And that kind of takes a lot of the momentum out of the Japanese man-at-arms rush. With that in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Pascal Sauvage go for perhaps a range opening himself or even scouts, which can make a lot of sense, particularly given the Japanese get they save a lot of wood from their production buildings. They're able to put down their dock early, as we are seeing now. Pascal Sauvage is already sending his villager over to put a dock over here. And he should be able to get a couple more fishing ships out a little bit earlier than his opponent, who is only just now going over. Although, okay, there's the house. And it won't be a massive difference, but every little helps. And oh my goodness, are we about to... This could be massive. Nope. The Pascal Sauvage's scout ran under the TC, narrowly avoiding death to the TC fire from Raiden. It looks like Raiden might be trying to take down the scout now. I don't know if this is going to get away or not. If Pascal Sauvage is going to opt for the man-at-arms play, that this will be really big because you do want your scout to kind of stay alive to kind of block the opponent's villagers as they run away from your very powerful man-at-arms, Japanese man-at-arms, getting twice as much, or attacking much faster than regular men-at-arms. That being said, it looks like Pascal is going to be able to run all the way back to the TC, and he should be able to... Okay, yeah, he's frightened off his opponent's scout. Be interesting to see what happens now, and both players are kind of getting fish out of their own. Pascal Sauvage able to wall off over this side quite nicely. I wonder whether we will see any kind of forward docks, which can be really nice to disrupt the early fishing kind of economy. Anyway, for now, things are kind of proceeding quite predictably. Oh my goodness, are we going to see a dead scout here? Oh my... Raiden, my man! That's so unfortunate. Pascal Sauvage, you very sneaky play there with the walls. I love to see it. Okay, so it looks like in a complete turn of events, Raiden's scout has gone down whilst Pascal Sauvage is able to lure the rest of his deer. It's not the end of the world. Raiden has already lured all of his deer, and he does now know where his opponent is. It looks like we're getting each player clicking up at a very similar kind of time, both getting loom now. It looks like Raiden's going up with one villager less, whilst his opponent is going to go up at the same time with one villager more. I'm not sure how that quite makes sense. Does he... Ooh, I didn't realise this. Raiden has lost a villager to the boar, so that's going to make things a bit tricky for our Portuguese player here. He's putting a double lumber camp on this 2 lumber camps on this wood line. I don't really like that. I feel like you could at least try and go for one of the ones over here. I guess that would make it really tricky to wall. It might even make sense to go for a second one over here, and you could wall off over here really easily, right? Anyway, but it looks like each player is going to be up at a relatively similar time. However, Pascal Sauvage has 1 extra fishing ship and 1 extra villager, so we should be able to see from the res gathered that, I would have expected a bigger lead. It looks like Pascal Sauvage is only just above in res, but so we'll see that lead grow as the game goes on. It doesn't look like we're going to see the man-at-arms opening. There's no militia kind of gathered, and there's no gold being gathered either, so I doubt we're seeing a forward dock. It looks like we're going to see scouts. However, Pascal Sauvage has lost his scout there, which isn't ideal at all. That being said, Raiden's opening with a range. Now, he's opening with a range, expecting his opponent, presumably, to either be going for range units, so he can make skirms, or to be going for archers because he's expecting the man-at-arms. Pascal Sauvage is opening with the stable, so he's going to be opening with scouts, and I really like this from Pascal Sauvage. His food economy is really healthy because he's got 5 fishing ships. He hasn't touched his berries yet, so it's going to be really easy for him to, slap down a mill and put 4 or 5 villagers on berries and start getting that well-established food economy when he wants to. He's getting gold quite early. I'm kind of surprised by how early that is, but he's already gone out to this lake over here, so he should be able to put all of this excess wood into fishing ships, which will mean that his food economy is amazing, and he can just keep those scouts pumping. That being said, Raiden, he's got the archer out. Okay, he's now seen the scout, so I wouldn't be surprised yet. Immediately going for the spearman. Spears obviously countering the scouts. And Raiden's suddenly in such an awkward position. Raiden, for those of you who don't know, walling up against scouts is kind of quite a good counter against the kind of scout play. Hey Koa, nice to see you, man. Thanks for checking out the stream. But I'm just kind of explaining the niches of the scout rush because a couple of the other players said that they are going to rewatch later and get some of their mates to cast who aren't necessarily super familiar with Age of Empires. As one villager goes down, love to see it. And already Pascal Sauvage is kind of demonstrating the scout goes down. That sucks. But scouts are very maneuverable, so they can just run around your base, sniping villagers and being really annoying. They are also much faster than their counter spearmen, so that makes things quite tricky. However, this isn't without loss for Pascal Sauvage, as he's already lost 2 scouts himself. However, I didn't even realize this. My mind is completely preoccupied with the scouts, as Pascal Sauvage has already started pumping out these skirmisher units. Oh, thanks, man. Means a lot. Always appreciate the support, man. Yeah, it's really important to keep the community accessible and open to people. I love growing the community and explaining some of the more nuanced bits of the strategy. But and with that in mind, we've got skirmishers on the field. Skirmishers kind of counter basically everything that Raiden can make at the moment. They counter archers, they counter spearmen. So Raiden is forced to put down a stable, which produces scouts, which counter the skirmishers, and suddenly we've got a very intense feudal game developing. Pascal Sauvage getting fletching, which will give him extra attack on the skirmishers, and even this villager might go down and delaying the stable. That's massive. And, Pascal Sauvage, that micro, the blocking of the villager with the scout, repositioning the scout to stop it from getting to the town centre, that was absolutely beautiful. Now, this is pod racing, guys. This is a top-tier play by Pascal Sauvage. Still stopping this stable going up, and is he going to get that? Not quite. He didn't quite get the villager. However, we can already see 5 eco deaths to 0 for Pascal Sauvage. So Pascal Sauvage is absolutely playing Raiden like a fiddle right now, and more spearmen going down. Raiden has archers of his own, but he doesn't have fletching yet, so they don't have as much attack or range, and he's only now producing the stables. So right now, there's very little to... he's only now producing the scouts, sorry. So right now, there's very little to counter these skirmishes, which are absolutely destroying these archers here, as you can see. The scouts are now out garrisoned inside the stable, so they should be able to clear this up relatively soon. But more and more units are just flooding in for Pascal Sauvage, and Raiden's completely off gold. This is not ideal. He's got 19 on food. He should be up to castle age relatively soon, but he can't click up if he can't keep gold. And Raiden's invested so much villager time and resources in walling up, but this little hole completely negates all this effort. As another villager looks to be going down, and Pascal Sauvage is looking very much in control of this game right now. It is also worth bearing in mind that Raiden has a second pond, but he's only got one fishing ship here, whilst Pascal Sauvage has 6 fishing ships here, and oh my goodness, look at this. He's got 11 on this side. He's got 28 villagers on, eco units on food in total, including his villagers on berries and whatnot. He hasn't placed a single farm, and he's up to the castle age. Now, Raiden is slowly clearing this up. I mean, not without great cost, and this is really messy right now for our blue player. It does look like he should be able to, he's going to force a load of villagers to close this off, and then literally maybe 2 or 3 scouts, depending on how much HP is on this green scout over here. Yeah, 1 scout should clear all of this up now, to be honest. And however, he hasn't been able to gather gold for ages, so he's really far away. To be honest, he could slap down a market and sell some of his wood to get up, but his opponent is only 1 minute away. He is nowhere near. Well, yeah, he's kind of close, but he's still missing a lot of the gold, and this is a very, very sticky situation indeed for Pascal, for Raiden. And just look at the beautiful walls from Pascal Sauvage right now, as he's able to just any incoming aggression or incoming counterattack from our man in blue will simply bounce off these walls, and he won't be able to do anything. Now, I suspect Pascal Sauvage playing as the Japanese, he's just got up to castle age. Because he hasn't been massing archers, I suspect he's going straight for cav archers, as we can see here. Yeah, I think that Raiden... I played Raiden in the semi-finals, and it was... He won 2-1. But the map I was able to beat him on was on 4 Lakes, and I don't think that... I think Raiden's a better player than me, but I don't think that 4 Lakes is his comfort zone. So it makes sense because this is the admin map, right? Okay, but Raiden is into up to castle age. He's got a lot of food in the bank. He's getting a couple of stables out. Maybe he can make something happen. Yeah, I mean, he did ban... What did he banned a couple... he banned evacuation, which I don't necessarily blame him for, because, you know, 4 Lakes has been in the map pool before and 1v1, right? But evacuation has never been in the map pool, so I don't necessarily blame him for that. Yeah, it looks like Raiden might be able to get some damage in here. But the earlier castle age time is so big when you're playing cavalry archers, right? Because you're able to get that mass up, and mass is everything when you're playing cav archers. I love Pascal Sauvage as well. He's getting bloodlines. It looks like he's probably already got husbandry. Yep, he's already got husbandry. Love to see it. He's got getting all of those upgrades that make cavalry archers so powerful, and then on top of that, they're Japanese cav archers, so they're really they perform really well against other range units, or other archers specifically. So this might be why Raiden feels the need to go for knights here against the cav archers. However, it's never a good sign to be up later than your opponent if they're going cav archers and if you're going knights, because once cav archers get to that mass, it's very difficult to counter them indeed. And look, Raiden's population continues to fall behind. We've got 74 economic units to 45, and Pascal Sauvage is already booming behind this with 3 town centres. He's able to put all his food towards his economy, he's able to put all his wooden gold towards his military, and this is a very comfortable situation for our Japanese player. It looks like Raiden will be forcing the cav archers back, but this is exactly why cav archers are so annoying to play against, because they can just run, hit and run, hit and run, hit and run, and without the +2 defense, these knights are going to have a pretty hard time countering the cav archers, certainly once the cav archers get into sufficient numbers. It looks like that one villager has gone down over here, and Raiden is killing a couple of these cav archers, but he's losing a lot of knights in the process, and there's the GG. I don't blame Raiden at all for calling it there. That was really well played by Pascal Sauvage. Absolute masterclass, and a really prolonged feudal war, right? And we love prolonged feudal wars, so love to see it. Okay, let me just get up the next game. And also, Koa, while you're in the chat, can you just confirm that everything's sounding okay and looking okay with the stream, just because I'm using Capture Age to stream for the first time, so I was a bit nervous about using that. Thanks, mate, you're a champion. Okay, let's get up the next game. Hey. You didn't even need me to tell you you're a champion, Koa. You know it already. I love that Dragonite emote, man. It's so cool. I was actually thinking about doing doing a playthrough of Pokemon Crystal on the channel at some point. But anyway, we'll get back to that another time. Let me just check that everything's okay on my end. Yeah, looking good. So, without further ado, let's get into the second game. Oh, and let me just confirm that Pascal Sauvage has the win. Okay, and we've got 0-1 to Pascal Sauvage. We've got a second game on Arena, which I believe was one of Pascal Sauvage's picks for this best of 5. Pascal Sauvage opens with Lithuanians. Did not expect that. Not that I dislike the pick. I think Lithuanians are quite flexible for this. Obviously, they've got an excellent early economy. They've also have an excellent unique unit, and they also have excellent monks. So in some ways, they're quite well suited to Arena. That being said, Raiden has gone for... Yeah, no, Lithuanians can clan with the best of them. That's 100% true. And I think as well, they're a little bit less one-dimensional than a lot of the other kind of monk picks, like, say, going Aztecs on Arena. They can kind of feel a little bit one-dimensional. You're kind of forced to go into the monks. But with Lithuanians, they're a little bit more flexible with things. A 19 villager Lithuanian push on Arena. Oh my goodness, that sounds pretty horrible. And that, did the opponent just go straight up to Castle Age with 19 vills? That sounds nuts. Or did they just no farms? Oh my god. This is the kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, I was literally about to say, for the players who, those watching who aren't familiar with the intricacies of Age of Empires 2, Arena is one of these maps which we call a clown map, because it lots of players kind of turn the game into a bit of a circus where there's lots of monks, you rely heavily on the market, you don't really have an eco, and you're just getting lots of gold and then buying anything you need from the market. So it's an interesting map, to be sure. And then, actually, speaking of, we've got Raiden playing as the Bohemians. I think a lot of people would say that Bohemians are maybe the best Arena civ at the moment. Certainly, when Bohemians are played on Arena, I definitely view them as an S tier civ. Yeah, they've got a lot going for them. They have free mining upgrades, which means it's obviously nice for the gold income, but it's also nice for the castle drops, which are so popular on Arena. Also nice to access their unique unit from the castle, which is the Hussite wagon, which has soared to popularity over the last, like, what, 6 months to a year due to the white phosphorus strat. There's all sorts of stuff that can be done with Bohemians, and they also have amazing monks. In fact, they are actively rewarded for putting down a monastery quite early in Castle Age, because the monastery tax actually affect their villagers, so their villagers can get extra health, but they can also get extra speed, which is also a bit of an economic bonus for them as well. So they're just a very powerful arena civ. I would suspect we're going to see a fast castle strat from both players. That being said, we've got 9 seconds of idle TC time for Pascal Sauvage. I was kind of wondering then whether he'd got an early loom, because there was a bit of a discrepancy in the villager count, but it's not that much. I wouldn't be surprised if we see both players go for a fast castle, maybe like 25 pop up. So this part of the game might be a little bit slow, so I might just speed things up a little bit. That being said, it's not unheard of to have really fast feudal times, hoping to catch your opponent off guard and going for some sort of villager-focused tower rush, which is always a possibility. And not something that I particularly enjoy playing against, but it's definitely something that happens. It's not always that successful, though, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it as your go-to arena strat. Okay, it looks like we've got a couple more vills coming in. I don't think we're going to get Loom from Lithuanians. 24 pop-up for Pascal Sauvage. That's pretty speedy. Obviously, the Lithuanians are actually really well suited for that because they get the extra food. Looks like we had a bit of a pause there. And it looks like Raiden is going to be going for some sort of castle drop. He's already getting the stone for that. And he's going for... Ooh, is this 27 pop? 27 pop up. He hasn't got Loom yet, but I would expect him to get one villager and then get Loom after he's up to Castle Age. Barrett's coming up for Pascal Sauvage, so this could be really dangerous for Raiden. Basically, often players will send forward a load of villagers to drop a castle on their opponent's walls. So Raiden might drop a castle like over here, maybe over here by the stone. But that kind of relies on your opponent not having much military out to deny it. It looks like Pascal Sauvage kind of suspects this, so he's going to go for a couple of scouts of his own once he's clicked up to Castle Age. And that might deny any potential forward castle. That being said, if Raiden sees this, he may well choose to build the castle safely behind his walls, and then he can kind of venture out with his Hussite wagons from the safety of his base. So we'll see what happens. Pascal Sauvage able to get up at 26 population, and Raiden up at 27 pop. He's making 2 more villages. He's not getting a Loom though, so it looks like he is not going to go for the forward castle, I would assume. He's going for the market blacksmith, which is expected. And things are very much kind of proceeding as one would expect right now. No scouts out yet for Pascal Sauvage, so he does have to be careful. If his opponent did choose to castle drop, he doesn't really have the military to deny it at the moment. A little bit of lull in the gameplay now, but once we get out to castle, there'll be something cool. And there's the scout off. Are we going to see... Oh, that's nice for Raiden. Okay, and it looks like... Oh my goodness. Okay, so Raiden is going for the extra spearman to support his castle drop. Pascal Sauvage has more scouts out on the map, but once the spearmen are out, it's very difficult indeed to deny any kind of castle drop, particularly because Bohemian spearmen are that much better. They've got an extra bonus damage against cavalry units, so they're really tricky to deal with. Where are we going to see? Okay, it looks like we're getting the castle drop over here now. And the castle drop is coming over here. Okay, denying the relic and the gold over here. Oh my goodness. Okay, are we going to... Okay, one villager down. No, there's no loom. Why did you go out without loom? Okay, loom coming in now. Okay, so 2 villagers down, 3 villagers down. Oh my goodness, this is 4 villagers down. Oh no, mate, this, I can't watch. Is this actually going to be denied? If another monk comes out, this could be denied. It looks like it's gonna go up, but barely, and I'm not sure I like this. Raiden has damaged himself a lot by doing this. And villagers have come out to play. This is, oh my goodness, you can see what I mean by this map being a bit of a circus, right? Okay, so we've got villagers going down, 2 other villagers, monks kind of healing and converting various units, and suddenly, Raiden, my man, not like this. Oh man. Okay. It looks like... Okay, more villagers coming in. The castle's gonna go up! The castle's gonna go up! Okay, the castle is up, but not without... Not without... 6 villagers going down. Now, 4 of Pascal's Sauvage villagers have been killed. I'm kind of curious though, like, does that take into account converted units? I don't even know if the eco kill count takes into account converted units, so it may well be higher than this. Sorry, I'm kind of revealing that I'm not in fact a professional caster, my goodness. But yeah, I don't think conversions count as kills, so I think more villagers went down to Pascal Sauvage than we think. Yeah, I know, right? Like, why don't I just spend all my time casting Age of Empires? Ridiculous, man. Gotta clearly make a living casting some sick games from AOE leagues, am I right, guys? Anyway, so it looks like Raiden has managed to get the castle down. And never underestimate Bohemians with a castle. The Hussite wagon is very tricky to deal with. I do like that Pascal Sauvage is continuing to get relics. Oh, it looks like his next villager will be denied. However, I didn't take into account Raiden, like an absolute mad lad, has already clicked up to Imperial Age. I mean, this is kind of expected. The kind of fast cast drop into fast Imperial is very common. Pascal Sauvage does need to keep an eye on this. And I think it's in his best interest to get a defensive castle of his own and to just buy his way up as quickly as he can. That being said, it is so frustrating when this happens because once your opponent has gotten a castle on your walls, once you're kind of pinned into your base a little bit, on Arena, it can be quite snowbally. You kind of lose a lot of your starting economy, you lose your farms, and once you've kind of lost this kind of starting area over here, like there's not a huge amount of other resources here, so this could snowball very quickly. Pascal Sauvage has gotten redemption, but I think that he thinks his opponent's going to push more in Castle Age. He doesn't quite appreciate that this is going to be quite a quick uptime from his opponent, followed by Trabs, and his opponent is probably going to hope to maybe follow this up with just monks. We're seeing double monastery at the front, and once you get 10 monks with redemption, with block printing, with sanctity, it's going to be very difficult for Pascal Sauvage to Pascal Sauvage to deal with this. I feel like Pascal Sauvage, great initial response, but has kind of misread this a little bit. Obviously, getting Sanctity, amazing normally, but against monks don't do damage, so the extra hit points don't really help you that much. Now, suddenly, Pascal Sauvage has realised what's up. He's not that far away from him. He does need to hold, though. And this is really tricky because literally one trebuchet by here, it can take out this town center, it can take out this town center, to be honest. Or it's not that far away from taking out that town center. And suddenly, Pascal Sauvage has to be very careful which town center he chooses to go to Imperial with, because it might not live that long. Raiden does have the pike upgrade. Oh, okay. These monks live to fight another day. Okay, and it looks like these monks could actually get this relic. But, I mean, what is Pascal Sauvage to do here? His opponent's got an Illumination, he's got Sanctity. It's block printing, which we're really looking for, unless he's already got it. No, he hasn't got block printing yet. Block printing makes the monks have a much greater conversion range, and it makes things very difficult indeed. For Pascal Sauvage, the castle is coming up here. I like that, it's nice and sheltered. However, just bear in mind, Pascal Sauvage hasn't clicked up yet. He's getting the castle, so he should be able to click up once he's got the castle up. If he can just sell a little bit. There we are. Okay, and he's clicking up here. Okay, this town center is going to go down very quickly. Yeah, he's just got an Illumination, which is kind of like a bit more of the... you don't see it super often, do you? What I would quite like to see from Pascal for Raiden is maybe further. That kind of might make sense here. Or even... one sec. I think Lithuanians can get further, right? Yeah. Maybe it makes sense to counter monks with monks, man. Who knows? It looks like Pascal Sauvage is going to go for a couple of skirmishes, which makes sense if he can get enough mass. But this is going to be so tricky. His opponent is also adding a couple of Hussite wagons behind this. Okay, it looks like the wagon is probably going to be converted. Your wagon? It's now Pascal Sauvage. But no more monasteries for Pascal Sauvage. He's getting the skirmisher numbers. His opponent is going for atonement though. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're going to see a bit of a monk war on our hands. And it's just worth bearing in mind that Pascal Sauvage has lost access, effectively, to his main gold. He only has this much gold in the back. So really, he needs to kind of break out. He needs to kind of go and get this gold, maybe, if he can. He's got the eco advantage, so he just needs to hold. He just needs to get military on the field. Okay, so it looks like Pascal Sauvage is going to be up to Imperial, and notice that Raiden has completely stopped producing villagers. All his economy right now is fully focused on just producing military. This is how you win a game like this. And oh my goodness, here's the monk war. Okay, monks going down. It looks like that's kind of gone quite solidly in Raiden's favor. And suddenly, this is looking very difficult for Pascal Sauvage. Do you remember at the start of Castle Age when Raiden was losing villagers left, right and centre over here? And you know, things look pretty hopeless for Raiden then. But this is the power of clowning on Arena. We've got Elite Skirmisher in. We've only got Fletching though, so that those skirms aren't going to be that effective. They are taking out the pikemen. But bearing in mind that the Hussite wagons are a pretty solid counter to skirmishers, to be honest. And more units are being converted all over the place. Hussite wagons being converted, skirmishers being converted. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a latest converted. So who even knows whose units are whose anymore? And yeah, this is so messy now. We're getting a load of monasteries put down. But look at how much gold Pascal Sauvage has in the bank. He's only got 100 here. He's only got a little bit less than 400 gold in this little area here. Obviously, Pascal Sauvage can't decide that in the heat at the moment. His castle has gone down. And what do you do here? What do you do? This is so tricky. Like, he could perhaps sell a load of food at the market, but he's so difficult. Yeah, 50% more eco for our opponent. Oh my goodness. Poor Pascal. We've all been there. We've all been in this position where you feel so confident in early Castle Age against some sort of clowny push, and the clown perseveres. Raiden woke up today, decided to don his multicolored wig, he decided to put on his bright red nose, and he decided to fully clown on Arena. Love to see it. And look at this. Raiden's not content with just coming in here and killing everything. He's going to convert that range as well. That being said, he's kind of losing a bit of steam here. He doesn't have the extra units that he would quite like to accompany this push. There's only 2 light cavalry, so I wouldn't be surprised, yeah, if Pascal Sauvage just goes to kill the Trebs with villagers. Yeah, no, 100% Koa. I think if you can just stall out a bit and let your greater economy kind of get to work, you just need to buy yourself that time, right? And one of the ways to buy yourself time is spreading your eco out a bit, so it's not all concentrated in one area. Pascal Sauvage only 1 economic unit ahead of his opponent now, and this is where things are getting really ugly for our purple player here, as Raiden is using Pascal Sauvage's own villagers to repair the trap, and I think this is where once these villagers die, Pascal Sauvage may well call the GG. He has now got less villagers than his opponent. Oh, 1 trap down. Light cavalry coming out. Raiden looks to be pushing this back, and there's the GG. Oh, really well played from Raiden after a very rough first game. And I would even say this was quite a rough game for him as well, given his Castle Age opening. He's managed to pull it back. Absolute champion. Really well played by our green player. I'm just going to be right back to get myself a glass of water, and we'll continue with the cast in a minute. Be right back. All right, guys, let's load up our next game. What a crazy set this has been so far. Absolute pleasure to cast, and really back and forth. I mean, particularly that second game, I thought Raiden was in a very tricky position at the start of Castle Age, and he managed to pull it back. So really well played by our green player. Loading up our next game now. And we've got Cup from Hidden Cup 5, wonderful tournament. Raiden playing as the Tartars, and Pascal Sauvage playing as the Malians. Okay, without further ado, let's get this game going. We've got quite interesting Civ matchup here. I wouldn't have thought of Tartars as necessarily one of the best Civs for this map, particularly, I mean, as we're kind of noticing, it's a very flat map, right? And for those of you who don't know, Tartars are one of their Civ bonuses is that they can make use of hills and whatnot that much more. In Age of Empires, there's extra damage if you're fighting from the top of the hill downwards, and you take less damage as well if you're fighting from the top of the hill. And Tartars get even more than other civilizations. So that's one of their intrinsic advantages. So it's kind of interesting to see Tartars on a map like this. And they're not particularly well known for their hybrid map ability either. So quite an interesting one. Malians are much more of a standard kind of pick in kind of hybrid maps. They've got a wood bonus from the start of the game, which kind of helps with getting that early dock down and then getting those extra fishing ships out, and then you can kind of snowball it from there. They also have Malians are just one of the most flexible civs in the game. I think they're one of my favorite civs. They can go archers, they can go cavalry. They don't get bracer in the late game, so you don't necessarily want to stick with archers, but they can play Castle Age crossbows really well. And they also get all sorts of options for their cavalry. They have a sick unique unit, the Gabetto, and they're just an all-around very solid civilization. That being said, Tartars are very scary in the late game if they get to their ideal composition of heavy cav archer and their unique unit, the Keshrik. So it'll be really interesting to see how this kind of plays out. Let's kind of speed this up a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we see both players go for a dock and then most players go up at around 21 population, or 20 or 21 villagers. We'll just see how that goes. It looks like Pascal Sauvage is the first to the dock, and Raiden's not gone for the dock. That's brutal from Pascal Sauvage, laming that sheep there, and choosing to take the fight. That's really big as well because Tartars do get extra food on their sheep. So really nice little snipe for Pascal Sauvage. He's also got the fishing ship out, so his eco is going to be looking a little bit quite tasty here. He's getting the loom now. Is this an indicator? Oh, okay, he's just getting a loom early. Perhaps he was housed. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see him go up at 20 villagers or so. Raiden just not going for a dock at all. That's really interesting. This should mean that Raiden is up a little bit earlier. He's going up at 23 population, and then he's going to get a loom, it looks like. One sec. He cancelled loom in favour of getting another villager. Okay, this is really interesting. I'm really intrigued by what Raiden's doing now. Is this some sort of fast castle play? I mean, 22 pop up without loom is pretty ballsy. He's going for the barracks now. His opponent is also up a little bit faster than him, and his opponent has 4 fishing ships, so it is worth bearing that in mind. Pascal Sauvage has quite a bit more res collected here. I wonder whether Raiden is just going to go for a very all-in kind of feudal land kind of aggression style of play. Of course, having water control is fantastic, but your water control only really kind of gives you control over this area and this area, and obviously land-based military can just sneak around. Oh, some HP off the scout there. What are we seeing? Seeing a stable. We're seeing a stable, and let's just appreciate Raiden almost has enough food to go up if he wanted to. So this could be something worth keeping an eye on. Oh my goodness. He's going for the stable, he's going for the market. It looks like he's going to sell his stone, and then he's going to go up to Castle Age. What a play. Obviously, I'm going to have to rewatch this game and write down Raiden's build order because this seems like it's a nuts build. Love to see it, man. I don't think, unfortunately, we can't actually see what Pascal Sauvage has scouted. Once Pascal scouts the market, he should know something's up. I mean, he probably already suspects that something's up. He's seen the stable, so he's building spearmen. That makes sense. Okay, now he sees the market. What is his response? Are we gonna see him rush market himself? Because this is gonna be so interesting. I love the defensive play with the spearman. It's going to be so difficult for Pascal to get any real damage in here. And once Raiden gets those Tata step lancers out, this is so difficult for our purple player. The damage potential with step lancers is pretty nuts. It does look like Pascal is going to be able to get a couple, maybe get his a couple of villagers here. One villager down. Oh, looks like another one down. And this is damage that you can't really afford to take if you're Raiden. This is such a tight build. It looks like he might even have to buy some of the resources he needs here. But he's up to Castle Age. Step Lancers coming out. I love that. He immediately queues up 4 Step Lancers as he gets up to Castle Age. And Pascal isn't that far up. If he can wall up, maybe wall to the edge of the map here and here, like maybe with houses, and do it with multiple villages, and just make sure that he's house walled everywhere, he might be able to hold here pretty well. That being said, the stuffies are out. I feel like Raiden is waiting a little bit too long with the step lancers. I think he needs to go out like right now. And if you just look at the amount of res collected, right, literally 1,000 difference in the amount of res collected, which at this stage in the game is nuts. Bloodlines coming in. I'm not sure whether that's like, on the one hand. Oh goodness, looks like Pascal is gonna snipe another villager or two. He does lose a scout, but obviously every villager is really important here for our green player, who is now like idle, right? Idling a lot of TC. He doesn't have any villagers coming out, and obviously Bloodlines is a really important upgrade. But like, I feel like Step Lancers are very powerful when you have a minimum of 6 of them, and then they stack, and then they can all attack one palisade at once, and they break through really quickly. It's not as powerful when there's just 3, and obviously getting that Bloodlines is very important, but I feel like going for numbers over Bloodlines might have been the core here. Villagers are going down though. 1 villager down. Looks like we're going to get another villager down. Okay, 3. And this is why Step Lancers are so annoying, man. Okay, it looks like 1 Step Lance down. Another, that one's literally surviving on 2 HP, so maybe Bloodlines was worth it after all. Another villager going down. And just like that, okay, 6 villager kills to 3. So maybe Pascal Sauvage is kind of feeling in control of the situation now. However, his opponent is dropping double monastery. I didn't think that would be the response here at all. I feel like Camel might have made a little bit of sense, but at the same time, I kind of love the double monastery play. Like, why not? Steppies are going down. And on the one hand, Raiden has done a lot of damage. On the other, there's quite a big build difference. Pascal Sauvage has gathered more than 1,000 extra resources, and you do have to kind of wonder, is this going to pay off? Fishing ship's going down here, which is quite nice for Raiden, but just bearing in mind that fishing ship has likely already gathered enough resources to pay for itself. Certainly these ones have. And, oh, are we going to get conversion? Ooh, that's really bad. I mean, really good for Pascal, but really horrible for Raiden. And this is where this push is kind of stalling out a little bit. I think it might even be worth it for Raiden to just buy the food he needs. He's got a lot of gold, and literally maybe just go double double stable step lancer and get a couple of scouts out to deal with the monks. Of course, Pascal probably realizes what's up. He's putting down a load of farms. I would like to think that Pascal knows that he's got the eco lead, so he just needs to respond to this kind of aggression with, like, if he just plops down a second stable himself or just keeps on producing the monks, he should be able to simply outproduce his opponent with a solid 10 villager, economic units lead there. And quite a lot of that is villagers, not fishing trips, so it is worth bearing that in mind. And look at the idle time for our green player. Crazy, man. Are the conversions going to come in here? 2 conversions. That's really nice. And again, yeah, see, this is... I really like the... Oh, that monk was so close to death. But this was a really fun idea for a play. I don't think that the execution is right there. Monks are coming out for... sorry, a Siege Workshop is coming down for Raiden, but it's not going to be in time. Sanctity comes out for Pascal Sauvage, giving his monks extra HP. But literally, once Redemption comes out, it's very difficult to see how Raiden actually counters this. And he's just going for more and more step lances. I like this as well. I was about to say it would be ideal for Pascal Sauvage to go for a castle drop behind this if he can, and he's already got 8 villagers on stone. So this is really well played. He's adding an extra TC to make sure that he doesn't fall behind. And this is such a tricky position for Raiden. Redemption coming in. These villagers either going to go down or be converted. The Siege Workshop not even going up. However, maybe some monks going to be sniped here. Oh, my boy, I feel so this is really tricky to watch. Like, Raiden had such a fun idea, and it's just not quite worked out. And there's the GG. Really well played by Pascal. Really fun idea and strategy from Raiden there, but not quite, didn't quite have the execution. I think if a couple of things had gone differently, and maybe if he'd gone out with his step lancers a little bit earlier, there might have been a kind of difference. This might have been a bit closer, and he might have even won. But Pascal adapted really well, super well played by our purple player there. All right, I know I'm going to be taking a lot of breaks, but I might just. I've got to let my dog out to so that she doesn't wee all over my flat. So, you know, wonderful stuff. First world problems, guys. I will load up game 4, and then I will give myself 5 minutes or so to just take my dog out, and I'll be back as soon as I can. So be right back, guys. Hey guys, I'm back, and oh my goodness, we have Pascal Sauvage himself in the chat. Love to see it, man. Oh, really love to see it. Okay, so I'll give myself a minute just to check that the stream is going all right. Sorry about that. I had to sort my dog out. the No one ever tells you when you get a dog, but like, there's so much you dedicate so much time to just like the upkeep of the dog, right? But you love them all the same, right? So they're very cute. Anyway, let's get back into an epic series between Pascal Sauvage and Raiden. So right now we've got Atacama, which I believe was Pascal Sauvage's or one of Pascal Sauvage's home maps. And he's gone for the Koreans against. Oh no, sorry, it was Raiden's home map. But Pascal Sauvage has gone for the Koreans, and Raiden has gone for Saracens. I feel like this is quite interesting. Koreans I've seen play this map really well before, kind of going for a tower rush in combination with the kind of cheaper trash units that the Koreans get. So it kind of works really well, and it's really difficult to counter. So I think if Pascal Sauvage can pull that off, that would be quite difficult for our blue player. That being said, Saracens, in theory, should shine on a map like this. A map that is really open and kind of encourages aggression. You can open quite easily. You could do like a 20 or maybe like 21 pop up into into one range archers, then slap down that market, sell your stone, kind of get up to castle age as fast as you can, putting down one extra range, maybe two, and then suddenly you've gotten a load of crossbows in your enemy's base with the extra attack. There's nothing in feudal age that counters crossbows, and if you time that right, then it's so tricky for anyone to kind of counter that. So we may well see Ita Raiden try something particularly kind of cheesy, particularly kind of market focus here. I wouldn't be surprised. That being said, Pascal Sauvage has played really well so far, and Raiden has as well, although he's had a bit of a rough matchup, a rough opening game, and certainly things didn't go quite his way in the last game either. Ooh, classic castle drop into fast in behind. I mean, we talking about the arena game, man. Yeah, the arena game is so tricky for our boy Pascal. I mean, Raiden was. It looked like Raiden's early castle age was so messy, but that's just the power of the clown, the power of the castle drop, the power of the fast imp behind on a map like arena, right? So tricky, man. Anyway, getting back to the game at hand. It looks like we've got fairly standard openings, both kind of opting for the forward wood. I really like Pascal Sauvage's choice for the wood line over here. It's quite big, and it's quite easy to wall off if he really needs to. You could wall off over here. Raiden's one is pretty good, but it's not quite as defendable. That being said, maybe he can make some really massive wall off across over this side. Who knows? I might speed things up a little bit as we kind of deal with the opening stages of the game. It looks like Raiden's opting to push deer, and so is Pascal Sauvage. It's just so common nowadays. I remember when I first started casting, like it was just when, 10 years ago, it was when deer pushing had only just started to be a thing in the pro scene. And people weren't really doing it at the lower stages. But now it's just so common, even at like 1,000 ELO, you see people pushing deer. So it's pretty nuts how far the game has come. Looks like we've got both players going up pretty quickly with 19 pop up. I thought we might see a kind of later pop up, to be honest, but really kind of cool to see. I wonder what we're going to see. No gold collected from Pascal Sauvage, no stone either. It looks like he might be going. I would be really surprised if he goes scouts, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for that kind of classic Korean trash kind of build here. And we've got gold coming in for Raiden, so it does look like archers for our blue player. And what are we seeing? Raiden is up first, just a little bit quicker. Has he? He's definitely got Loom, right? Yeah. Okay. Going for the archer range, and we'll just slow things down a little bit now. Oh, it looks like. Oh. Raiden managing to chip away at the health of that villager there. Pascal Sauvage does manage to get up relatively unscathed, and he is going for some stones, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of towers coming up here. Maybe his plan is to kind of play this quite defensively for the time being, using towers and rangers and his cheapest skirmishers. It looks like he's got a couple of spears coming out just in case. Oh my goodness, there's a lot attack notifications going off all over the place. It looks like Raiden has just lost his scout, which is really unfortunate for him. Pascal should be able to play relatively well against the archers of his opponent. Obviously, the extra defense on the skirmishes is so big here. It really kind of negates any aggression. And just, oh my goodness. Okay, so Raiden has discovered the tower, the forward villagers coming from his opponent. If he can get fletching and like a good 4 or 5 villagers out, he might be able to counter this relatively well. However, he doesn't have fletching yet. He doesn't have a spearman yet, so this scout is going to cause some real problems for him. And the scout gets away alive. That's really nice for Pascal Sauvage there. And there was a farm there. There's so much going on here. Okay, scout's going down, and this is so. We've all been here where like it's so difficult to deny power rush early on in the game. Raiden's kind of lost a lot of his archers a bit too early, and I think that's really going to come and bite him in the backside. That being said, he hasn't got a marker yet, which is the Saracen's secret superpower. He is getting a stable up, and he has got 4 villagers on gold, so he might be able to just buy his way to victory here. We'll see, we'll see. Farming eco being established for Raiden, already well established for Pascal Sauvage. So it looks like we are seeing a kind of very. I think we're going to see quite a lot of aggression in the early game right now. So I'd love to see it, man. Hey, Sets Monster, nice to see you, man. And Pascal Sauvage, excellent tower there, denying a couple of farms, denying the berries. It also gives him a really nice push point from this area to the gold. That being said, green only has a couple of villagers here and some skirms. If Raiden just gets, like, he's sending 3 villagers, send more than that, mate. Send like 8 villagers and you could kill this in the bud. Villager going down, which is not ideal for blue. However, it looks like this is going to be pushed back, and maybe okay, 1 villager going down for Pascal Sauvage, which will kind of equalize things. It is also worth bearing in mind that Pascal has a lot of idle TC time. He's also losing a lot of his forward military here, so Raiden has managed to stabilize quite well here. This is really nice for him. I'd love to see Raiden kind of go for a bit of a counter raid with, like, 2 or 3 archers, get fletching, and you can really cause problems for your opponent. However, Pascal Sauvage is clocked on. He is going to be coming forward with some spearmen now, which will obviously counter the scouts. And this is what is so annoying about this build. The towers do the damage, your trash just safeguards the villagers, and skirmishers and spearmen are very powerful in 1v1 when you have the economy to afford them. That being said, Raiden is technically ahead in villager count. Oh, he was for a minute there. Most players having a lot of idle TC time now, and Raiden's actually got more now. So it's clearly Sauvage is playing really well here. And another tower. That's a ballsy tower right there. I would be very surprised if this goes up. 3 villagers and 3 skirmishers and 2 spearmen. I feel like Raiden is losing a lot of stuff here unnecessarily. Literally, if he just gets like 6 villagers here, this tower isn't going up, and he can even try and wall in these villages, man. Like, this is a very ballsy tower from Pascal Sauvage. I don't think it's going to go up. Another villager goes down for Sauvage. However, they're 3-3 on the 3-4 on the eco kill ratio, but Raiden has really been affected by this. He's got so much idle CC time. He's falling behind here. And this is so annoying to deal with. It looks like Pascal Sauvage has managed to wall in a villager behind this, so he can repair the tower continuously if he wants to. It looks like he wasn't quite able to manage to do that. But the tower is going down. And oh my goodness, this is such a frustrating style of play to play against. I really sympathize with Raiden, but Pascal is doing an excellent job of playing this here, making it messy. And Pascal, you sly dog, he is walling in his opponent's range. Not the end of the world for Raiden. Raiden can just delete that house if he wants to. But it is really annoying, particularly if he doesn't quite realise. And oh my goodness, if he hadn't got the waypoint set correctly, his archers are just going to come out and be killed by that tower one at a time because they're completely walled into that area. That's so annoying for Raiden to deal with. The market is finally up for Raiden, so he should be able to. I honestly think that it's worth, doing this. Get all your villagers, kill towers, kill your opponent's guns and whatnot, but literally buy a load of resource. Like, buy loads of food if you need to, buy loads of wood if you need to as well. Like, just go archers, go scouts, and just get what you need to counter this force, because Pascal is causing so much damage here just by being aggressive and being annoying, that if he loses a load of villagers here, you could very well find yourself in the winning position. That being said, Pascal seems to have caused a lot of damage, and it looks like Raiden's chances of winning this game are just slowly disappearing. As these villages are actually being whittled down, these skirmishers do have fletching, and Pascal Sauvage isn't even that far away from being up. He's got 14 on food, got almost 500 food as well, and all he needs is, if he gets like 3 villagers on gold right now, he'll be up before you know it. So this is pretty nuts. Also, wheelbarrows coming in, which is going to be really useful here. And I think, how many villagers have gone down here? Once the skirmishers kind of get to this number, like 8 skirmishers, suddenly they can actually start taking down villagers, particularly with fletching. They do, 2 damage each? And there's the GG. That was really messy. I think Pascal did an excellent job of making this messy for his opponent. That being said, I feel like Raiden was playing a bit off, right? Didn't quite bring his A game to that match. That being said, really well-deserved win from Pascal there. And thanks for saying it for me, Car. No, I'm not entirely sure what is even meant to be achieved by people just being like, hey, do you want to get some more viewers if you give me money? And I'm like, no, I'm not that desperate for viewers that I'm gonna pay some random people on the internet, right? Anyway, who needs paid for viewers when... Oh, I didn't even see that. That's where's the extra... Oh, I didn't see that. What a sneaky tower, man. Oh, Pascal, you sly dog. One sec. Yeah, can you... Oh, goodness. Let me get that. Sorry, yeah, I've just saw that on the vanilla game rather than Capture A, so the camera didn't come over this way. But that's a really nice kind of place tower. And is that the win for the set for Pascal? Because I do have one more game in the folder, but I guess that might just be to avoid spoilers, right? Either way, well, I assume that is the win for our green player. Yeah, there we are. And what a set between 2 really accomplished players from the bracket. Love to see it. I think Raiden's played really well. And whilst perhaps today wasn't his day, he clapped me on a couple of maps to get into this round. So absolute kudos to Raiden for playing really well throughout the bracket. And you'll get them next time, mate. Really fun game on Arena as well too. Don't don't doubt yourself. You played really well. And then yeah, and Pascal, what an absolute monster you became in this set. The first game in particular was really brutal. I love the prolonged feudal war on Four Lakes. The second game was that the arena game, right? Obviously, things didn't quite go Raiden's way initially in Castle, and you did a really good job of almost denying that Castle. Didn't quite work out for you in the end, but then both the last game on Saltmarsh, you adapted really well to the fast castle strat, which I think is quite intimidating to play against these days. When you see fast castle into lancers, that's such a powerful strategy these days. And then obviously, when you on this map in particular with the tower rush with trash as Koreans, so powerful on this map. I've seen it a couple of times from in Division E. So it's really fun to see that that's something that we're seeing in this bracket as well. And my goodness, I agree with you 100%. Like, I think you did a really good job of scouting which were his favorite civs and banning um, civs that your opponent was more comfortable with. I think in a lot of ways that's how you have to play um, a tournament like AOE leagues. Just try and make your opponent as uncomfortable as possible whilst you try and play in your comfort zone as best as you can as well. So it's yeah, it was a fun game, a fun series, and yeah, I mean your IGC time wasn't great in this map, but I guess that's kind of to be expected, particularly when you're going constantly producing skirmishes and the occasional spearman as well. Like you played really well, man. Um, anyway, I'm probably going to call it there. I will try and upload this on YouTube. That's going to be really interesting for the people watching on YouTube to hear. Um, I'll try and upload this on YouTube and I'll send you the link when I can. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Both Pascal and Koa, it's been a pleasure. And I'll try and cast again or stream again when I can. As always, it's been a pleasure, guys. See you soon. Bye.